Hi, thanks for joining me. In the lead up to the election campaign, Australians were forced to endure an $18 million propaganda campaign from the government, speaking about its so-called record infrastructure spend. One of the great ironies of that is that they cut money that was allocated to build roads and rail lines in order to fund their propaganda campaign. Of course, once the election campaign ended, the propaganda ended. But what we know is that not only was it false when the government spoke about its record infrastructure spending, it actually, in terms of delivery, is quite farcical. Senate estimates confirmed yesterday the budget outcomes for the financial year 2015-2016. Now, when Tony Abbott handed down the budget in 2014 with the cuts to health and the cuts to education, the cuts to childcare, the cuts to services, what he said was there would be record infrastructure spending. That included $8 billion in the financial year that we've just had, 2015-16. What the actual investment shows is that the expenditure in that year was actually $5.5 billion, and that included $490 million as a one-off payment to Western Australia as GST compensation. That means a $3 billion cut in actual investment on infrastructure in the last financial year. You don't create jobs, you don't create economic growth by promising to build infrastructure. You create jobs and future economic growth by building infrastructure, by putting that investment in. This follows a $1 billion cut from the previous financial year as well. And in yesterday's infrastructure departmental estimates, we had details of the impact of those cuts. We know that there's been cuts to the Bruce Highway, cuts to the Pacific Highway, cuts to the Gateway North program, cuts to the Goodwood to Torrens Rail project in Adelaide, cuts to the North-South Road project in Adelaide, cuts to all of these projects which have had an impact. And it gets even worse when you look forward. Malcolm Turnbull likes riding on trains, he just doesn't like funding them. So when you look at the forward estimates from this year's budget, in 2019-20, the figure for rail transport investment is zero. A big round figure of zero. Not a single dollar invested from this government in public transport projects anywhere in the country in 2019-20, according to the government's own budget figures. Because what we've seen from this government is just a magical infrastructure re-announcement tour. They've gone around the country, pretended that projects are somehow new, that were funded either in the 2013 budget or in many cases many years before that. But that's running out, and hence the investment in roads, in public transport, in ports is all running out as well. And that means less jobs and less investment. And yes,